Is Mason, Ohio, not only one of the best places to live in the Cincinnati area, but all of the United States? That's what we're going to talk about in this live. What's up, everyone? Welcome in. My name is Eric Stanio. Welcome into Team Stanio Live, where we are talking all things Cincinnati, living, news, and real estate. And we're going to talk about Mason, Ohio tonight. It was kind of a bummer afternoon for a lot of people in Cincinnati because we're living in this world, this weird, bizarro world where the Bengals are apparently bad now, and they got crushed by the Tennessee Titans. I don't even know what the final was, 27-3, something like that. And it felt really, really weird because we marched down the field on the first drive. We're like, oh, we're back. Everything's cool. We're going to be back. And then we just got crushed and annihilated. So we're not going to talk too much about that. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to look at Mason, Ohio tonight. We're going to talk about why is it rated so highly? We're going to kind of take a look at the schools. I want to take a look at just general facts, population, schools, where it's at. Because if you're researching, looking to move to Cincinnati, Ohio, probably Mason's going to come up. It's going to come up quite often. Beyond that, what I want to look at tonight is what is the real estate market doing? I've got some updated statistics for September, so we can kind of look for all the Cincinnati area, but then specifically, we're going to drill down into Mason, Ohio. And we're going to look at what has sold in the area so you can have an idea if you are thinking of moving to the area or Mason in particular, what could you expect and what is active on the market right now? So all of that and much more. As always, would love to hear where are you watching from. Be sure to check into the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Hope you guys had a great week. I love being able to do this and connect with you guys. Answer any questions you might have about living here in the area or news or real estate and what's going on in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. So super glad to have you in. Welcome, and let us know in the chat where you're watching from, and we'll be sure to get to any of your questions. I myself, even though the Bengals were terrible today, and they're 1-3, and the season's probably on the brink, and it's looking like it might be a lost season, which is very, very sad because this was our biggest Super Bowl window season. I had a great weekend because we're celebrating the Feast of the Tabernacles. If any of you know what that is, it's Sukkot. We're not Jewish, but we are Christians who like to celebrate the biblical festivals. And so we were down in our church, and our church hosts kind of a citywide event where hundreds of people come. I don't have good pictures here, let me pull this up, of everything from that event, but around, I don't know, we threw out all these glow sticks. We had probably 125 kids there. It's in Southern Grant County. We've got this outdoor barn pavilion. We all camped out overnight. We had this amazing brisket and pork and turkey and awesome line. And then we put all that brisket in the fridge, and we had the breakfast sandwich masterpieces going on. So this is my friend Scott cranking out the breakfast sandwiches for all these kids, and with the cinnamon rolls. It was just a great night. And when you go camping with like 125 kids, well, we didn't camp with that many. We probably there was probably about 50 kids or so that camped. But I slept with 4 of my kids. My wife went home with my toddler. Here he is. We came back home this afternoon. But when you go camping that first night, your kids are so excited and they're playing with their friends and they're having a good time. We got 3-4 hours of sleep. Not a lot of sleep, tonight, but that's okay. Had a great time, came back home, set up the tent in the backyard so that my 3-year-old here could enjoy it because he didn't get to camp out with us last night. He was very sad about that, but he's kind of a wild man. Anyone else have a 3-year-old wild man that you don't necessarily want to chase around the campsite all the time? But I set up the tent back home for him today, and we were hanging out and using filters on Instagram. So that's always a good time. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. All right, let's jump into Mason, Ohio. Let's get into this. So on multiple lists, as I was researching this, Mason, Ohio is coming in as a top place to live, not only in Cincinnati, not only in Ohio, but even in the United States. This first one is from money.com. This is from last year, and this is a picture of the Western and Southern Open at the Carl Lindner tennis facility there in Mason. But let me just read through this. We'll give you some stats about Mason, then we're going to dig into the real estate itself. Mason is in Warren County. It's well known as Ohio's largest playground, and Mason, which sits on the southwest side of its boundaries, certainly plays a big role in that. Let me just orient you guys here. So this is over on niche.com and show you where Mason is. So it's a suburb of Cincinnati. It's It's kind of on the northeast side of Cincinnati, right in between Interstate 71, which shoots up to Columbus, and Interstate 75, which shoots up to Dayton and then Toledo and Detroit. So northeast side of Cincinnati. And you're usually about, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes to downtown Cincinnati from Mason. The nice thing is you kind of got two highways going in there. So if there's traffic or an accident or something on one, you can kind of use the other one getting in. So there's just to let you know where we're at. The Cincinnati suburb of 34,000 people is home to plenty of well-known spots and family fun. There's the Kings Island amusement park, which boasts of 100 rides, roller coasters, and attractions, and the Great Wolf Lodge, which is a sprawling year-round indoor water park that's just around the corner. So some of you guys have seen this channel before, and perhaps you've seen, I don't know, some of these videos I've done on Kings Island. Let me mute this real quick. But I went there this year and I interviewed people on what was your top favorite rides. Going to Kings Island is a ton of fun, I will say. The park's been around. Last year was the 50th year anniversary. Tons of great rides, a great kid area. It's just a beloved place in Cincinnati. It's one of the top amusement parks in the country, really well run, and that's right in your backyard in Mason, Ohio. So not only can you do that with your kids, and this is kind of look at some of the pictures from the past. Let me make this a little bigger here. But a lot of times, kids who live in Mason, Ohio, it's where they end up working. So you got a job and they're paying. I asked some of the kids this year how much they're paying in the water park. And I want to say he was making like 16 or 17 bucks an hour, which was pretty incredible. So there's some of the kid rides. But this year I asked like, what were the top rides overall? And it boils down to basically the newer rides of Diamondback, Banshee, and Orion. All three are excellent rides. Those are my three sons right there. But you can see everyone having a good time, having good fun there. Kings Island is definitely a perk of Mason, Ohio. It is certainly a gem and a reason why it's called one of the largest playgrounds in, what's it called? What's it called? What did I say it was called? The Kings. No, yeah, Ohio's largest playground. There you go. I know what I'm talking about, guys. So you can trust me. A true standout. So you've got Kings Island, you've got Great Wolf Lodge, and you've also got the Lindner Tennis Center, which plays host to the annual Western Southern Open. Roger Federer comes, Serena Williams comes. Now it's a little dated, and there's a new owner. It's possible that Western Southern Open moves to South Carolina, which is sad. They'll still use it, the tennis facility, I'm sure, for something, but we're trying to hang on to that tournament because it's a gem of the city for sure. They got great parks, McKeno Park, lots of great parks in the area. Mason's residents clearly enjoy plenty of recreational opportunities. The economy is strong in the small town too, thanks to companies like Procter & Gamble, Cintas, and Luxottica. The city has seen jobs jump 10% since 2015. So it's a really strong job market in the city when you've got P&G up on that side of town, Cintas and Luxottica. According to the projections, another 12% increases in the cards by 2025. So it's a growing economy. By all accounts, Mason schools are top notch as well. Niche named Mason Schools District number 4 in the state this year. So it's one of the top school districts in all of Ohio. And the local high school has a 97% graduation rate, which is pretty stunning. A whopping 70% of students take part in advanced placement courses. So of all the public schools in the Cincinnati area, Mason, Ohio is right up there at the top for sure, with a really, really strong graduation rate, as well as a lot of AP courses being taken. So you're getting that college credit early. Just a few additional numbers here. 34,000 roughly population. Median household income is 112,000. So it's one of the higher median household incomes in the area, as well as median home prices. And we're going to dig into, like I said, a little bit further in this live. I'm going to show you what has sold in Mason in the last 60 days or so. And I'm going to show you what is active on the market. And I'm actually going to go back the last 2 years so you guys can look at what's happened in that area specifically from a house, pricing standpoint and inventory standpoint. Unemployment rate is at 5.2%. So that was money.com. Moving over to fortune.com, they ranked Cincinnati the 4th best place to live for families, boasting 2 amusement parks in its backyard. Mason is anything but boring. And this is just a city park here. This is not an amusement park. This is just a well-run city park. You can see I put this on the thumbnail for the video tonight. This Mason, Ohio, the M. So they've got a little roller coaster in the M, if you guys can see that. And they're playing off the fact that it's a great place to have those amusement parks. So a lot of the same info here in terms of, hey, it's a great place to live, but just wanted to shout out that multiple sites are calling out Mason is a great place to live. So median sales price, this has it up a little bit higher, 345, household income 115. Now the racial breakdown, I think this is important to see as well. The Black percentage is 4.5, Asian 13%, Hispanic 2.3, white and non-Hispanic 78%. If there is a criticism of Cincinnati, I don't know that I don't. When people move here, I don't get it. I get this question asked to me sometimes: is like, am I going to feel like an outcast, if I'm not white, basically, am I going to feel weird? And I will say, overall, the diversity in Cincinnati is probably lower to some other major cities in America, no doubt. But in terms of places, if you're not in the more of the urban core, places where you might see a little bit more diversity, Mason, Ohio is one of them, particularly the Asian percentage of 13%. I believe that's probably the highest in all the Cincinnati area. So again, it's still 78% white. So it's very, very white. White and non-Hispanic, I should say. But there is a decent, Asian population in Mason, Ohio. Union, Kentucky is fairly decent as well. I've been seeing that grow. But in terms of overall Cincinnati, Ohio, where's a larger Asian percentage, it would be, centered around Mason, Westchester, those kind of areas. Share care. So district high school graduation rate, this had it at 95%. Number of quality family medicine doctors per 100,000 households is 48. Number of quality nursing homes is 55. So there's Fortune ranking Mason the 4th best place to live in the United States. Digging back into niche.com, just to give you guys a little bit additional information here. So overall, this is a site that is it close to Kings Island? Yes. 2 Timothy 4:2 Ministries. Mason, is the home of Kings Island. So Kings Island, Ohio. Show you guys where this is on the map. Come on, internet. Don't be goofy. So here's Kings Island, and scrolling out here, it's right in the heart. It's just on the east side of Mason. So Mason is kind of this area in between 71 and 75. So if we do, I don't know if I can outline this here. Let me try this. Mason, Ohio. Let's see if it outlines Mason. I mean, Kings Island is in Mason, right? So you're right here. So yes, very, very close to Kings Island. You love Union. Yeah, I mean, Union and Mason, I think, have actually very similar feels to them in terms of the type of housing, in terms of some of the demographics, in terms of some pretty top-notch public schools. The difference is, Mason has the amusement park. They have Kings Island. And, Union has a little bit more, Kentucky has a little bit more horse farm feel to it as you get to the southern edges of Union, I would say. So yeah, so keeping going back here to niche.com just to show you guys some more info. Overall niche grade, and I think if you're looking at any area in Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky, like I said, niche.com is a great place to get a feel for the general demographics and how it kind of ranks out. Public schools is an A+, housing an A-, good for families, an A+, jobs A, cost of living B-, outdoor activities A-, crime B, nightlife B, diversity B+, weather C+. I think that's probably all of Cincinnati. A-. So as an A+ grade, it's one of the best places to live in Warren County and in all of Cincinnati. And as we saw from those other articles, in all of the nation. So kind of the same info here. Many families and residents tend to be conservative. So it's not like overwhelming, I would say, but it does lean conservative over being more liberal or progressive. The public schools in Mason are highly rated. Home value is $320,000. Median rent is $1,500. It's got so 78% of people own their home. So, one of the more affluent suburbs, I would say, in all of Cincinnati, most people are owning their home versus renting, and you've got a higher median income. Rankings. Number 7, the Niche has it as a number 17 suburb in Ohio. Number 9 with the best public schools in Ohio out of 347. Number 9 out of 547 with the best public schools. So great school system. Again, crime's going to be very safe. Working in the area, 110. So Cintas, Lens Crafters, I mentioned P&G, Attracure. Yep, I'm going to go back here. Okay, and schools. So William Mason High School is rated A+. Mason, the intermediate elementary school, has got an A. Mason Middle A. J.F. Burns Elementary and Kings Mills Elementary both have A minuses. And I wanted to also show this on, William Mason School. It's got an 8 out of 10, the high school, on greatschools.org. And the reason why is they're 9 out of 10 on test scores, 9 out of 10 on student progress, 10 out of 10 on college readiness, and a 4 on equity. And basically that goes back to what I mentioned before, is that Cincinnati in general is not a highly diversified area. And so it scores a 4 out of 10. And so Great Schools has it down on an 8 out of 10. But in terms of all of Ohio, it ranks really highly in terms of schools. Their website, if you want to check out more, is run pretty well and updated, which is nice. You can learn more about the government. You can learn about business opportunities. They do a good job of attracting businesses. I feel like you can learn about the taxes in the area, things to do in the area as well. So that's just imaginemason.org. Their tagline is more than you can imagine. So you can check that out if you want to take out more information. Let's jump over to some of the real estate market in terms of Mason, Ohio. Because hey, we do real estate here. Drew, dude, what? No kidding, right? Like, RIP Bengals. I don't know if you can salvage the year. I mean, it's clear. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 seconds, give my little Bengals take here. You know what? While I'm doing that, if you don't care about the Bengals at all, more Kings Island stuff that I took my kids to. The Bengals are bad. I mean, it's obviously that Joe is injured, but when the whole team is built around Joe and his talents, and he can't do anything except sit in the pocket, and defenses can just tee off on that. I mean, the run game was solid today, but they're inefficient on the run game, and so they can't string things together. It's not looking good. I was hoping, I mean, maybe they can get to 3-3 to the bye. Can they do that? But they look so, I mean, Tennessee was not a good team, and they just got blown out. Like, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. So, anyway, RIP Bengals. I think that's it. Okay. No more Kings Island videos, I guess, but it is fun. Kings Island's super fun. I don't know what's going on with the Bengals. Drew, do you think they'll make the playoffs? I don't know. They'll have to scratch their way into the playoffs, but I don't know. The nice thing is you get to do more fun things on your weekends than potentially watch Bengals games. Look at me with that hard part on the side. Those are good days. Okay. So I love that ride, the kite eating tree. This one, very scary. The drop tower. That looks like it might be at a different park than Kings Island, but they have that same ride. Okay. So where are we going here? Give me 1 second. All right. I want to show you guys what's going on in some real estate numbers. Give me 1 second. Share screen. Window. This one. All right. Okay. So we're going to look at Mason. Let's first actually dive into all of Cincinnati. Let me close this so you guys can see this a little better. And okay. So we just got the numbers in of September, which is great. We're on October 1st. I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of a market update here. What's going on in Cincinnati? What's going on pricing wise? As you know, we are it's an affordable city to live compared to a lot of cities. And cost of living is good as well. Going back 2 years now, where some of the markets around the country are seeing lower prices, Cincinnati's not seeing that. So September of 21, the median home price. Now this is I pulled residential, so single family homes, condos, townhomes, for Claremont County, Warren County, Butler, and Hamilton County, which is basically the 4 largest counties of home sales on the Cincinnati side. In September of 21, the median sold price of a home was $250,000. In September of 23, that number is now $278,500. Now it hit a peak this year back in May, and looks like May and June of $299,000. It has since come down a little bit. So we've been talking about this on the channel for a little bit, but you do see this seasonal. You usually see this seasonally in terms of the end of August and September as families are heading back to school. You do see kind of a dip in sales price because those properties that are out there that haven't sold yet, those sellers get a little bit nervous and they're more willing to drop their price at this time of year. Now, it can go down a little bit more. That is also coupled with, obviously, rates have really gone up. They've really shot up. I'm going to have to do another video as to why rates shouldn't stop you from buying a home. You can blow me up in the chat if you think I'm wrong, but logically, maybe we'll go if we have time this video, I'll go through the end on why rates shouldn't stop you from buying a home. Yes, they're more expensive. I get that, and that's frustrating. But overall, the home price right now is $278,000. So it's gone up $28,500 in the last 2 years. It's gone up 11.4%. This is all of Cincinnati, okay, or all of these 4 counties. Now, showing you what does that look like from the amount of properties for sale. Interestingly enough, we have seen slightly more inventory, or the amount of homes for sale. So this is showing for sale versus sold. So red is for sale, green is sold. The amount, oh, I'm sorry, this is not units. I take that back. This is the for sale price. So the red is the for sale price. And you can see that correlates pretty well with the amount, with the sale price. So I'm not going to spend much time on that. This is actually the units for sale. And this makes more sense. So we had more back in September 21. You had roughly close to, what is that, 4,800 units for sale. Yeah, 4,856 back in September 21. And 2,200 of those sold then. Now we only have 3,300 units for sale. And that actually popped way up. And I'm wondering if that's actually a little funky from our MLS going off the grid in and out. But you see back in August, that number was very low. And if you compare that back to August of 2022, like right here, you can see it's a good bit lower. So there's just not a lot of inventory on the market. I keep saying this again and again. And so that's down 30% from 2 years ago. And I don't know if I can make this bigger. Does that help? It helps me. Okay. The number of units sold is down 54% from 2 years ago. So I'll just say this. At Team Stanyo, we're grateful for you guys watching and calling us and using us as your realtor of choice to help you buy or sell a home in the greater Cincinnati area. There are a lot of realtors hurting right now because there are a lot less units being sold this year than last year. And that's what happens in a market when affordability is getting crunched because home prices are still going up, but inventory is still going down. It's such a bizarre market right now. And it's not like home prices are going to come down because there's just not the inventory there. People aren't wanting to sell. And when you're locked in at 3% and rates are 7.5%, there's a reason why. Now, again, I believe that shouldn't stop you from buying, because what if rates go up? All right, let me go into this argument really quick. Let's say you're someone out there who is looking to buy a house, or you're thinking of maybe selling your house and buying a house, either downsizing or upsizing. And you're like, well, I don't want to do it because the rates are crazy right now. They're 7.5%, 8%. What they hit 8. I think they're around 7.5 right now. And they were 3 a couple of years ago. I would say you are absolutely right. Like, rates have gone up, and it's very possible they could continue to go up. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that can happen? Right? That's what you have to ask yourself. And there are multiple bad things that can happen. There's kind of 3 things you can think of. Number 1, rates could continue to go up, in which case, if you didn't buy right now and use the rates, then it'll be more expensive in the future, and you're kicking yourself. And if rates go up and then come back down in the future, well, then you could refinance. Second thing is the rates could go down, right? So you could buy right now at 7.5%, and rates could go back down to 5% or 4% or something like that. And you're like, oh, dang it. Well, there's an easy answer to that. You just refinance, right? If rates go down, you can refinance for a nominal fee. What else could happen? Home prices could go up. And I think this is the bigger issue. Home prices have continued to go up. As we've seen, as you can see in this chart here, going back the last 2 years, this is all of Cincinnati. Home prices have gone up because there's not a lot of inventory, or home prices could go down. Those are the 4 things that can happen. So if you buy right now and your home goes down, I would say of the 4 things, that's the one thing that you might want to look out for, but only if you have a short-term horizon. Because when home prices have gone down historically, and they've only gone down a couple of times in all of American history, in the Great Depression and the Great Recession, and they bounce back within usually 4 to 5 years, if not sooner. So even if home prices go down, if you're planning on living in that house for 3, 4, 5 years or more, you weather it out, right? So it always comes back to, do you need to buy a house or not? And I would just, that's just a quick little argument as to why you shouldn't let interest rates stop you, even though they're higher, even though it's more expensive. You got to ask yourself, well, what could potentially happen? And then what do you do in those scenarios? Because rates could go up to 11%, 12%, right? Or 8, 9, 10, whatever, somewhere in there. And you'd be like, dang it, why didn't I buy a house when they were at 7.5? Or they can go down and you can lock in and refinance. So there's an option for everything. The question is, what do you need to do for your family? Is it the right time? Because if you wait, then you lose out on the equity and you lose out on the use of the house and the enjoyment of the house. So the other thing I wanted to show here was the amount of months supply. Now that actually has kicked up. And again, I don't know if the MLS is playing funny tricks on me on this chart. I want to run it by, I want to double check it. But usually what you see is, supply. This is kind of a normal year where supply is low at the end of winter, and then it builds. And then it kind of comes down again in winter. But what we're seeing is supply was low, and then it shot up in August, and then it came down quite a bit in September. I expect this to, if you look at last year, October is going to be about the same. And then this isn't overall unit supply, excuse me. This is the month's supply of inventory. So it's how quickly will it take to sell the amount of supply that's on the market. Okay. So really this is saying if right now, if it's at 1.2, it'll take 1.2 months for, if no new houses coming on the market, for everyone to buy all the houses on the market. All right, so that's a quick update on where we are on the market, but I want to show you, I'm going to go back to the top, what's happened in Mason, Ohio, and we'll jump back into Mason now. So Mason, 2 years ago, the median sold price was $390,000. That hit a peak this year in, looks like March. It was $529,000, and it came down to $440,000. Now, it's important to know that when you have a less, when the amount of units sold is less, let's see if I have that number here, that the numbers are going to look more volatile, right? So this is a small, we're focused, instead of 4 counties and 20,000 houses, we're now looking at, what are we looking at here? A couple of hundreds of units, right? In Mason, Ohio. So this chart, well, let me go back to this really quick. I don't know if this is right or not. Again, this is showing the for sale price shot way up, and that might be because of some new homes for sale by Fisher and Duke's Crossing, but that seems like an odd, this seems like an abnormality here in the data as to why, and I'm going to put that on the MLS being weird and crazy. But normally what we've seen here is the sold went from 390 to 440. So that's up 13%. So that's pretty much on track with what we saw in Cincinnati the last years. It was 11.4. It's a little bit higher in Mason. So your appreciation in Mason is a little bit higher than it was for all of Cincinnati going over the last 2 years. And that's with it coming back down here in September versus where it was. You can see in the peaks, the peak months here going back over the last few years. And then inventory. This chart I wanted to show you because I was like, oh my gosh, there are not many homes for sale. We're talking about Mason, Ohio, and living in Mason and homes for sale in Mason, Ohio. And there are not a lot of homes for sale in Mason, Ohio. Right now, there are 17. There's a whole 17 homes for sale in Mason, Ohio from this chart. is what it's saying. Whereas 2 years ago, there was 174 homes for sale. So I don't know. Maybe I've been doing my job by showing people on YouTube that Mason's a great place to live, and you guys bought up all the houses. I don't know. Maybe this is again, maybe this is some weird MLS stats, and that's probably a little bit more likely. Is not everything is went into September properly as we were switching MLS. By the way, there was a vote on the MLS this week, guys, and it was 2-1 vote. The vote was, should we keep our current system or should we go back to the system that was hacked? 2-1 people voted to go back to the hacked system. And I have no idea why. Crazy. Some people are crazy. So coming to you soon, we'll be going back to the old MLS. Yay. You might tell that I'm not super pleased about that vote. Okay, so yes, not a lot of properties for sale in Mason, Ohio. Yep. Oh, that's Cincinnati. We already saw that. So let me get out of this real quick because I want to show you guys. Stop screen. Now I want to show you the homes that actually sold. Let's look at this. All right, back to Planet Snoopy. Let's go over to our MLS where we won't get to use it for much longer, I guess. I don't know what's going on. So here is everything that has sold residential, single family in the Mason City School District in the last 60 days. Okay. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. So we're in Mason, Ohio. And I've got this sorted by price from descending. So the highest home price that sold was $2,175,000. You've got a handful here over $1 million. Here's one in Long Cove, and I bring this up because I'm going to show you something that's active there. But again, I think and this is the neighborhood from my thumbnail from the video tonight. This was a 6-bedroom, 4 full bathroom, 2 half bath, 7496 building finished area. It's only got 19 rooms, guys. But very pretty home here in Mason, Ohio. Beautiful landscaping, and I wouldn't mind living there. That's really nice. Beautiful home. Okay, so there's a house. Now I won't say that one sold for 1.89, so 1,890,000. They had dropped the price a little bit. It was on the market 12 days before it sold. This one sold in 1 day. Some of these other over $1 million sold in 29, 91, 67 days. This one that was 1.175 sold in 1 day. But so there's some of those homes you're going to see. I want to show you a few of these homes. You can find, those are the more expensive homes in Mason. Okay, 1 million plus. You're going to find several in Mason in the 700 to 900 range. But probably where you'll see the most homes in Mason sold is in I would guess the 500 to 600 range. So let's look at one of those. Here's a home that was on the market 14 days, 3,900 square feet. They did drop the price down to 620 before it went on the market. So this home is 3,900 square feet, 3,926, 5 bedrooms, 3 full bath, and 1 half bath. Custom beauty, 2-story foyer, study with French doors. And the reason I'm showing you guys this one is you see a lot of homes. This is a fairly standard home you can get in Mason for $620,000. I'm not saying everyone buys these. I'm just saying there are neighborhoods filled with these homes. Let's see if I can find the lot size. Let me try to find that. I'd guess it'd be around a half an acre. Let's go down here. 19.197 feet. What is that? I forgot my realtor math. 19.197 feet to acre. 0.44 acre. I was pretty close. And this one was built in 2002. So you're gonna find several of these homes that are like 20 years old that kind of look like this. Let me show you guys what this looks like on the inside. Looks like a 3-car garage here. 1, 2, and then this is the third. Got a double driveway, so you could got a lot of parking, nice front porch. So this was on the market 14 days, and I can tell just by looking at it, probably some of that was like the paint, having the carpet, maybe needing a fewer updates that you haven't seen in 20 years. So, this color is not super appealing. But somebody got a price reduction. I love this morning room here right off the kitchen. That's great. We would use that for homeschool. It'd be awesome. Not in Mason. Mason has great schools. I want to just show you guys the master. I wish I could show you all of the photos without having to scroll through. There's your office on the first floor with your French doors right off the front door. There's your master bedroom with a tray ceiling going into your master bath right there. They really like their yellow paint, it looks like. Yeah, so not huge, nothing was really updated here. This is the original bathroom. This is the original cabinets, the original gold, 2002 shower there. Same with the tile. And that's why this one sat for 14 days versus let's compare that to one that sold in 1 day. All right, this one is for 670,000, and you guys are going to just see probably a little bit of difference. Sunny yard, in-ground heating pool, so maybe that's why the price is up a little bit more. That actually might be the difference itself, but it sold in 1 day, and this was year built. I just want to show that to you. Where is the year built? Weird. I don't see it on this one. There it is, 1995. So this one's actually a little bit older. Let's see if they updated the interior a little bit more. So that 3-car garage. No, just 2-car garage. Hardwood floors instead of the carpet. So slightly. I mean, this still has a little bit of datedness to it. But your granite counters. Yeah, you're probably getting an extra price just for the pool, is my guess. Okay, so any questions on this, guys? Is this helpful at all? Let me know in the chat. And I'm just kind of showing you. I want to give you information that's helpful to you. And I know you guys can go on Zillow and look at homes that sold. So I don't want to give you something that's not helpful. I did want to show you the other thing I wanted to pop on here was what is for sale now. Now this is showing 30 listings for sale. Am I sorted by price? This is sorted by newest. So more than likely, some of these that are on the market for 2-3 days here this weekend, they might be pending by tonight or tomorrow. Because that's what you see when you have that low of inventory in one of the most popular neighborhoods in all of Cincinnati and all of Ohio, with great schools. If it's priced right, you should be selling it in the first weekend in the current environment where we're at with inventory. If not, you probably overpriced it a little bit. The condition's not as great as people want. The other thing you should see here is a 2-bedroom condo. It's $250, so you can get into Mason for. Let me see if I can sort these by price. Actually, let me go back to the ones that sold. I want to scroll down here. So what sold for the lease? There's a 2-bedroom that sold for $155. Here's a condo that sold for $215. Another condo for $215. I think I showed this house. Yes, I most certainly did. This is a 2-bedroom. This was kind of a flip. It was okay. It was not in the best condition, but you got into Mason Schools for $216. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Another condo. So you can get in a condo or one of these older, smaller ranches for, in the 200s. Then as that goes up with square footage a little bit, to 1,200, 1,300, 1,500 square feet, you're going to be in the 300s for these houses. So you can find those. You're going to be, now remember, that price point in Mason is for sure going to be in multiple offers. So if you're trying to get into Mason at that price point, just know, like, in this low inventory market, unless it's got a lot of things wrong with it, you're going to need to come in with an aggressive offer. And that's probably going to mean multiple things. It's probably definitely going to mean at or over list price. It's going to be over list price. If you can waive inspections, that will certainly help. If you can do an appraisal gap, if you're doing financing, that will certainly help. And obviously, if you have cash, that will help. But a home, yeah, in this price point, again, if the condition is decent, is going to go into multiple offers. So there's a 300s. Now you can get 14. Look at this. So this was 1,900 square feet. So a smaller home in Mason sold for 420. So there are homes obviously in the 400s, 300s, and 400s that you can get it. And this had updates in 2022, and the last few years they put in some updates. So that's what it looks like. Okay, what did I want to show you guys? Any questions on that? Is that helpful? I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have questions about living here. It's a great place, great city. What did I want to show? A few other things. Nope, that's my brother. Okay, restaurants in Mason. I'm curious. Any guys who are watching who live in Mason or have eaten in Mason? What are your favorite restaurants up there? I will say I've been to Quatman's up there. It was great. They've got a deal where you can get like a burger, fries, and beer for like $9 or something silly. Let's see if I can find that on here. Yeah, this place is legit. I think I had my kids. My kids were at a birthday party, and we took my wife and a couple kids over here. It was awesome. I highly recommend Quatman Cafe. Shout out to Quatman Cafe. I will say, like, in terms of the burbs in Cincinnati, where there is some decent restaurant selection, I would say Mason's one of the better ones for that as well. It's not just chain restaurants. You get something like Quatman Cafe, Two Cities Pizza is also very popular. The Mason Grill, the one, let's see, where is it? Phoenician Taverna was. I did a video on this because they just scored very highly on a Yelp. They like were a top restaurant in the nation, which I have not been here yet, and that looks fantastic. So the nice thing about, like I said, about Mason is you don't have to drive all the way into OTR or downtown or somewhere to get really good restaurants. You have good restaurants up there. So you got schools, you got restaurants, you got things to do. You've got the amusement parks, and it's a great place to live. There's no wonder why it's ranked, one of the top suburbs in all Cincinnati and Ohio and the US on these different websites. So, all right, guys. I did want to mention this. There was, I mentioned these Duke Crossing homes. There's not a lot of space where you can build new construction in Mason. Like if you look at it, let's go back here and how do I do this? Just take a look at the satellite view real quick. If you're looking for places where you can build new construction, just looking at this satellite view and how much land there. So here's Kings Island over here. Like there's not a lot of land here, right? Where you can get into these great schools and build some new homes. It's pretty much all taken. However, as I've mentioned previously, Fisher Homes launched 11 new home sites at Duke Crossing. Now, I don't know. I'd have to check if these are all still available or not, or if there are any available. I talked to Nathan Levesque of Fisher Homes on the Cincinnati side, and we were talking about this, and he said, yeah, like 6 of them were scooped up in the first day, and then like the next weekend, they had appointments lined up for people who could secure the lot. So these might actually be all sold out, and they haven't updated their website yet because that's it. So I'm not saying you can't get into Mason. I mean, clearly in the last 60 days, there were 84 homes sold. So you can do it. And we can help you. So would love to help you with that. Adam, what's up? Good to see you again. Fireside Cafe, great Cuban sandwiches. That's interesting. Okay. I want to check it out. God, I love a Cuban sandwich. Free. I like that. Here we go. Yeah. That's a calzone. Where is it? Is it like a looks like a diner where they do a lot of breakfast? That looks good. Ooh, is that chicken and bacon on a waffle? Mm. We're not the healthiest of cities, I will say. Shrimp and grits. Where's the Cubano? Is that it? That looks good. Now my mouth is drooling. Oh no. Yeah, looks good. Okay. So there you go. There's some restaurants for you guys in Mason, Ohio. All right. I'm gonna hop off here, guys. As always, please like the video if you haven't done so already. Share it with a friend if you know someone who's trying to get into the area. Sorry, let me wrap this up. Like I always say, would love to be your realtor of choice. Love doing these videos, introducing you to more of these cities. Mason, Ohio, to recap, top schools, fun amusement parks, about 30 minutes from downtown, great restaurants, great jobs, and in terms of affordability nationwide, still strong. In terms of Cincinnati, it's on the higher end, I would say, in terms of the houses, and it's a great place to live. So if you're thinking of there or anywhere else in Cincinnati, Ohio, would love to help you out, but wanted to give you guys that overview, and I hope it was helpful. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Daniel Clanyo and watching the live stream tonight, and we will see you next time. Who Day? Can we break 500 this year? I don't know. It's kind of crazy.